TomoNews presents Things About Fish.
Netizens slam frozen fish feature at Japanese skating rink. A Fukuoka theme park thought it would be a good idea to put thousands of dead fish under the ice at their skating rink, and is now badly regretting that decision. Space World apparently thought the idea of gliding over a wide variety of sea creatures would be a unique draw for customers. So operators bought 5,000 dead fish and arranged them around the rink, along with blown-up photos of larger marine animals. When images of the theme park's centerpiece got around, they were met with outrage after netizens thought the fish were frozen to death. Despite the clarification that live fish weren't used, most didn't see the appeal, calling the concept weird, cruel, and disgusting. The park was met with a barrage of criticism and calls to boycott the attraction. So much so that they decided to close it down on November 27th. Space World is now melting the rink and will reportedly hold a memorial service for the fish sometime next year. Rest in peace, fishies!
Elderly woman cooks grandson's $3,000 pet fish. The red arowana is an incredibly expensive fish and is worth an estimated $3,000 US. Doesn't it look tasty though, especially when steamed and flavored with ginger? Well, a Taiwanese grandmother was apparently thinking along just those lines. A netizen, identified only by his surname Zhang, posted this photo just a few days ago, noting that his friend's grandmother had apparently thought keeping the fish was too taxing on the family's utilities bill. So she decided it'd be a good idea to cook her grandson's pet, the most expensive steamed fish ever. If grandma wants to eat fish, I'm willing to exchange the red arowana with a box of seafood. Curious netizens have managed to dig up a slew of similar stories. Another grandmother, this time in the southern Chinese city of Kunming, cooked the red arowana just 3 months ago and apparently loved the taste of the fish. Some suspicious netizens are calling shenanigans on Zhang and claiming it might have copied the Chinese report.
Goldfish in Sweden fitted with mini harness to survive. Many of us have enjoyed the company of a pet goldfish or two at some point in our lives. Most know that when you see a fish swimming or floating awkwardly, the end is near. Veterinarians probably don't see many patients with gills because most owners just prepare themselves for a burial at sea. But how many can say they cared enough about their fishbowl-dwelling friends to figure out how to save them? Earlier this month, one owner of a goldfish in Sweden noticed their goldfish unable to swim properly, floating at the bottom of the fish tank. The fish was likely suffering from swim bladder disease, a common disorder in aquarium fish caused by intestinal parasites or constipation due to high nitrate levels from being overfed. The swim bladder of a fish allows it to control its buoyancy. Understanding this, the owner used a few twist ties and some cork to create an underwater wheelchair and fitted the tiny golden wonder with the homemade life preserver, allowing it to swim free with the rest of its buddies. This isn't the first time a devoted fish owner has come up with a creative solution to save their underwater pets. Just like humans, there are plenty of disabled fish who could benefit from a snug little life jacket to get through their day. These other fish wheelchair models are pretty neat too, aren't they? Wow, the depths some owners will go for their fishy friends. Mad cool.
Vegan activist throws family's fish back into the water. Last Friday, vegan Florida activist group Direct Action Everywhere took it upon themselves to disrupt a family's fishing trip. Initially, they sent this kid up to ask the Hope family to stop fishing because it was hurting the fish. Arguments ensued, and the end result, in this video filmed by the activists, shows one of them grabbing the fish and then throwing it back in the lake. In other footage filmed by the family, we see the argument escalate further. The activists shout at the family, surround them, and begin chanting, "It's not food, it's violence! It's not food, it's violence!" among other things. FYI, that family's got a 1-year-old with them. The cops later arrived but didn't arrest anyone. In a statement, the police said that any group has a right to free speech in a public park. This is true, but from what we've seen, the protesters appear more intimidating and confrontational than anything else. And that's not very vegan now, is it? And that wasn't Direct Action Everywhere's first outrage rodeo. Earlier last week, that also protested at a Florida Chick-fil-A dressed as chicken and cows. Why? They said it was specious to use Cow Appreciation Day to give away chicken bodies. Right. Makes total sense. They claim to be non-violent and peaceful in their protests, but when you confront and shout down people in public places, aggro will follow. Oh, and BT dubs, remember that fish they threw back in the lake? Well, it was an invasive tilapia. Those fish are not native to the USA and are basically swimming wrecking balls to the fragile local ecosystems. So nice work saving the planet there, vegans. Yeah, nice work indeed. Pictures of deep-sea fishermen's strange harvest go viral. Just when you needed reminding of the absolute bizarre things that evolution has filled our world with, along comes Russian fisherman Roman Fedorstov and his Twitter account. But let's back up. Fedorstov is a deep-sea harvester based out of Murmansk in Russia's frigid far northwest. He's been cataloging the strange finds his trawler pulls up from the deep ocean, including species that live up to 5,000 feet down. A lot of this stuff isn't intentionally harvested, but turns up in the trawling nets anyhow. This is known as bycatch. But it sure is fascinating, and Fedorstov's sharing it with the internet. His Twitter account, where you can find these and other incredible images, now has a healthy 83,000 followers. Just keep swimming, just keep swimming. An aquarium worker from San Antonio is currently the darling of the internet after he helped a wee disabled fish get back on its fins. Netizens got wind of the adorable contraption from YouTuber Taylor Dean, who makes educational animal videos, and is pals with aquarium worker Derek. A customer of Derek's had recently brought in their pet goldfish, which was having buoyancy problems due to swim bladder disease. The swim bladder is the organ that helps fish remain stable in water, so any deformity or infection would essentially F up that stability. This particular fishy's problem was incurable. Not only could it not hold itself upright, it also remained stuck on the bottom of the tank. To help the poor goldfish, Derek MacGyvered a solution out of airline tubing and styrofoam, in effect creating a wheelchair to prop the little guy up. He even made sure to adjust the right buoyancy so the goldfish could swim around and not feel it was dragging a chair. What a sweet, clever man. You keep doing you, Derek.
Japanese fisherman lands monster fish. Japanese fisherman Hiroki Hirasaka captured a gigantic fish in the waters off northern Japan near eastern Russia. Hirasaka set off last month on a fishing tour around Shiratoko Peninsula of Japan's northern island of Hokkaido, where wolffish live near the seafloor, 50 to 100 meters below water surface. The species normally grows up to 1.2 meters in length, but the beast Hirasaka reeled in was nearly 2 meters long. The photo of the massive fish went viral globally after Hirasaka posted it to Twitter. It was worth flying to Shiratoko twice in 3 months, and this guy is absolutely awesome, said Hirasaka. Some people threw out the idea that the size of the freakishly large catch might be the result of radiation from the 2011 Fukushima nuclear disaster. So what's happened after that picture? Hirasaka said he grilled the fish and ate it.
CROC 1, Shock 0. Two Perth filmmakers got front row seats to a battle between a crocodile and a shark, and confirm once and for all that in Australia, at least, the croc reigns supreme. The filmmakers were on a fishing expedition in Kimberley when they pulled up at the Prince Regent River. While soaking up the surroundings, the crew gutted some fish and threw the bloody scraps into the water, where they attracted a frenzy of hungry sharks. Before long, a huge saltwater crocodile came swimming up from the nearby mangroves, clearly wanting in on the action. But the croc had no interest in the fish scraps. With its mouth open, it instead waited patiently for something bigger. As soon as a shark came up for the fish, the croc lunged and grabbed it in its mouth before dragging its bounty back into the mangroves. It was a pretty brief battle. Poor Sharky never had a chance. Of course, this being the wild Aussie outback, you bet there's gonna be a rematch.
Researchers discover angry octopuses turn darker colors. Scientists from the University of Sydney have discovered how octopuses communicate with each other by changing colors, including identifying certain poses that indicate a complex system of social signals that the marine creatures use to interact. After studying 53 hours of octopus footage, researchers concluded that the cephalopods turn a darker shade and try to make themselves appear larger or taller when they're being aggressive, and turn a lighter shade or make high contrast patterns when they're trying not to start trouble or if they just lost a fight. Darker octopuses will stand their ground when facing off with a lighter colored octopus. As you can see here, the octopus has taken a Nosferatu pose named after the vampire film. There goes the loser of the fight in a pale flash. This is the first study of a system of communication among fighting and high-fiving octopuses. In this clip, notice how the darker octopus chases the lighter ones away in a show of aggressive behavior. Octopuses have cells called chromatophores below the surface of their skin that allow them to change color.